Hey, what's up? I got some more lore content for you guys. My apologies, no gameplay this time. This is going to be a short discussion video talking about what decks I want to bring to the tournament, because as it stands right now, I'm like 80% sure I'll stay in the top 700, chilling right now at 465, and the cutoff is in a few hours of recording this video. So, I want to talk about the 3 decks that I plan on bringing, the updated lists for each of them, and my ideology behind certain changes, because these decks are very tournament specific, very tournament formatted. They're not a deck list that you would run in the ranked ladder. So starting off with the first deck I want to bring is MonoSI, of course. Not a surprise there. My favorite deck, my pride and soul in Legends of Runeterra. It's been my favorite deck since the beta. I hit rank 1 with it in October. It's super fun to play, and it's probably my most comfortable deck. So there's already a couple changes. We running Mark of the Isles because it's super good this format. It's going to throw some people off. I know people are running this in Fearsome Aggro as well. It's so good actually. This helps trades against things that normally have quick attack, and you can also trade up into Sharp Sight or Pale Cascade if either of them get used, so you can match for just 1 mana. Of course we got the Arachnoid Horror, we got the Elise, we got the Glimpse. I was thinking of bumping Glimpse to 2 for like 3rd mark, but we'll see. Glimpse is really good in this deck because it's anti-removal. You're able to cycle through your cards, deny Ezreal targets if you fight Ezreal decks, stuff like that. So seeing as much of Glimpse as possible is actually okay, so keeping that at 3 for now, but we will see. Mistwraith, of course, 2 Vile Feast. Don't want to open too many of these in Brick because we're trying to win on board and using some spells to kind of help us get there, but not too reliant, so I don't want to run 3 of these and like have 2 in opening hand, because this card can brick as well. Frenzy Skitter, of course, super strong, really good on attack turn 3. On defense turn 3, it's also a turn skipper. The opponent is forced to pass most of the time because it's just a really big swing in your favor. Passage Unearned, so this is my super spicy tech card that 2 of my decks have in order to beat both Feel the Rush, Trundle Tryndamere, and also to beat Fearsome Aggro, because Passage Unearned will absolutely annihilate anything that comes out of Harrowing or anything that comes out of Feel the Rush. Same with War Mothers as well, if War Mothers is being run. A little side note, it can also hit Remembrance if I'm fighting any Demacia decks that run that for whatever reason, so that's kind of cool. Passage Unearned is actually a pretty sick tech card versus the current meta. This would obviously be immediately taken out for Stalking Shadows or for Pale Cascade. Triple Risen Mist because we run in super Wraith heavy. This is where it kind of aligns with Fearsome Aggro. MonoSI did it first, I'm just saying. Let's see, double Withering Wail. Withering Wail is really good against Jinx Draven discard aggro, which is kind of what I'm prepping this deck to fight. I want them to ban Scouts or Burn, whichever the 3rd deck I take, and I'll talk about that later. And I want to be able to use Withering Wail versus Jinx Draven discard because it's a 1 card out to most of their boards, and the only other thing you have to worry about is Draven and Jinx themselves, but you have Vengeance for that. So we also got the Hecarim Rekindler, of course, the mid-game package, and then late-game Harrowing win condition. So that's it for MonoSI. This is a super well-rounded build. The only thing I'm missing is extra draw from Stalking Shadows because I teched in Passage Unearned instead, which I'm kind of fine with. I'm also not running Black Spear or Grasp in this one because I noticed in testing I just drew way too many teched in removal cards at once. So I'm going to go with Mark of the Isles for the tournament because it's a little bit more flexible and it's way low cost, way lower cost than Grasp. And it's a bit better than Black Spear as well, because you can usually hit things that you would normally like try to trade Black Spear into anyways for 2 less mana. Next deck on the menu is Deep. So Deep is one of my personal favorites. I've hit Master Tier with it multiple times over the ranked seasons. A lot of people have been asking me, why are you bringing Deep? Isn't this deck bad? Everyone's telling me it's bad. It's absolutely not bad. Here is my take on it. Deep is a very well-rounded, low variance deck. So you're going to have a lot of 4-6 matchups in the opponent's favor, or like 6-4 matchups in your favor. So it makes it to where you're not really playing into super bad matchups. I think Soraka Tom is one of the worst ones for it because it's just like too slow at killing Soraka Tom, but that's literally it. That's getting banned though. I'm done with that. So Deep has like a really easy time versus most other things, which is super sick. Even like Fiora Shen, because you can just chill for a while. You don't have to really play too much. Use Grasp on Fiora, like bait barriers with Bile Feast and just get your sea monsters out there, and then she can't beat over them, right? And Devour is also really good against her too. So it's just like pretty solid overall is the way I've always thought about it. It's an anti-control mid-range combo deck. That's a lot of words, but basically what it does is it beats control decks by existing and being able to push its win condition without being threatened, because control decks are not going to threaten Deep, and then Deep gets to play all their toss cards. They get to develop Maokai if he's not removed. If Maokai ever levels versus a control deck, you just automatically win, so you have an alternate win condition there. It's super fun, and that's the reason why I'm bringing this deck into the tournament, is to beat control decks, because I have like an out to aggro being MonoSI. It can pretty much match any early aggressive board, and it has removal tools, but I don't have a super easy way to beat control decks, so that's where Deep comes in. It basically fills that slot in for me, whereas other players won't need that. I definitely do in my own playstyle, so that's why I'm bringing Deep. So we run in the triple Dreg, the triple Jettison, only 2 Thorny Toad and 2 Vile Feast. I'm not going too anti-aggro with this deck because I don't plan to play this into aggro matchups. I still have the early tools, but I don't want to invest too heavily in them by having 3 of each. So Deadbloom Wanderer is the 3 of, because this is a good body and it's toss 3 immediately on summon. You don't have to wait for anything to die, because Thorny Toads can like clog the field and if you can't kill them off. So Deadbloom Wanderer is definitely better in that regard. Draw Hunters got 2 Passage Unearned, also for the same decks. In case I have to fight Fearsome aggro, like if they ban MonoSI, I can play this into it. Or if like it's just down to the best of 3 and I have to play Deep into it, I have an out to Harrowing, and I also have an out to Feel the Rush with this deck. Super good. Slaughter Docks, of course, good card. Maokai, only 2 Salvage, don't need 3 because it bricks. 2 Abyssal Eye, 2 Grass. Grass hits a lot of 3 HP champions. 2 Atrocity to end the game. 2 Devour, 3 Nautilus, only 1 Hoarder because that's all you technically need. As long as you see 1, you're good, and you get more copies of sea monsters through Draw Hunters. So I run pretty low sea monster stuff and more early game toss stuff to try to make it more well-rounded, more consistent. This is the way I've always preferred to play Deep. And 2 Vengeance, of course, single target removal. So yep, that's the ideology behind this deck. So the third deck I have jumped between many times now, actually. So last night, as of recording this video, I needed to play 1 game so that I could get out of the 700 player threshold on the master ladder. I literally just needed 1 win, right? And I lost. So then that turned into a spiraling downhill tilt fest where I played for like 7 or 8 hours, and I ended up where I want to be. But over the course of that time, I realized that scouts were just not working for me, and burn was. Like, I went back to pirate burn, was like, oh, let's cheese some people, right? Let's get some free LP with that. And it worked a little bit. I got like maybe 30 LP off of it. It was like, whatever. But okay, the moral of the story is burn was doing better than scouts. So I'm kind of torn in between the two. I kind of want to bring burn rather than scouts so that I have an aggro option. Because if I bring scouts, I have 3 mid-range decks that I'm bringing. Fast mid-range, slow combo mid-range, and true mid-range, right? These would be the 3 decks. However, I kind of want to mix it up, bring something super aggressive, and it would be able to beat out bad hands, and would also be able to beat out slow strategies. Like, I've actually beaten Lee Sin, Karma, Lee Sin Zed, Lee Sin Diana, all variations using Deep on ladder, which is really sick because that's a hard matchup for MonoSI and for Deep. So now I kind of have like a little bit more to work with. So the reason I also have these 3 that are named tournament as well is because if you go to the website of the rules and all the stuff, let's see, let me swap over real quick. Okay, here it is. So the way it's going to work is 5 best of 3 rounds. If you win all 5, you are in top 32, pretty much guaranteed. And then 15 people will, like, who also go 4-1 will also be in the top 32 based on seeding. This is important because if you actually make it to top 32, this is really interesting. When signing in, players may submit different decks than they use in the open rounds. So you don't have to submit ones, but you can like swap them out, right? So I have other decks to consider. I have Fearsome Aggro, I have Basilisk Aggro, aka Darrowing, and I have Scouts also being considered for a round 2 based on what anyone else is playing. So that's why those are there. But yeah, this is super interesting article. Highly recommend reading it if you're in the tournament itself. It's on the Play Runeterra website. So yeah, check this out. Very interesting. Okay, so I'll talk about the burn deck because I'm leaning. That's what I'm going to play. I'm going to practice one more time on stream tomorrow. So Friday, the day before the tournament starts, and I'll get a feel if I'm going to pick burn or if I'm going to pick scouts. So I'll go over both of them actually. So this is the standard burn before it got changed. I don't run Crackshot Corsair and stuff after she got buffed. I still run Jack. I don't know if people are running Jack anymore. I haven't really seen Pirate Aggro too much, but yeah, I really like this variation of the list that I kind of like spiced up with Island Navigator, so I'll talk about her in a second. Jagged Butcher, Saboteur, Precious Pet, Standard, super aggressive 1-drops, Spider, Grenadier, super aggressive 2-drops, MF, Petty Officer. Petty feels bad, man. Too bad you're not a 3-2, you'd be kind of broken. However, it's still fine because the only thing that hits him right now is Withering Wail. Because like people don't run Make It Rain anymore, so in the mirror match, Petty Officer is actually just fine. I don't run Make It Rain either. I run Triple Noxian Fervor, so that Zap Sprayfin guarantees the 3 damage card. And Island Navigator, so it's time to talk about her. Super spicy in this list actually. I've been able to flip Misfortune, aka level her up, in Pirate Aggro using this card. So if you're playing super on curve, like let's say Saboteur 1, Grenadier 2, MF 3, Navigator on defense 4, this is really sick. So you set up Island Navigator and you have MF already enabled, right? So you do turn 5, your attack turn, open attack with Scout, Navigator, and the 1 cost, and then MF passive will go off, whatever, and then it forces your opponent to take an action, so they have to play below certain mana ranges. So if they're at turn 5 with 2 banked mana, and let's say they're SI, if you make them play anything, then they don't have Vengeance for GP. So Navigator basically tests the waters for you, pun intended, and gets in a little bit of cheap damage, gets in a little bit of board pressure because of MF passive, and the opponent's forced to block unless they want to take, you know, upwards of 5-6 damage depending on what 1-drop you got. And then after they play something, that's when you drop GP right then and there, and then you have a 5/5 body, you have the barrel that's going to get amped with MF passive, and you get to attack with everything again. The Navigator being 2 bodies, the MF, the GP, barrel popping off. Like, it's just so good. It feels so awesome. And then like if MF survives and the opponent's not dead, you can just scout attack next turn and level her up. Super good there. Also 2 Jack the Winner. I love Jack. He's a homie. He's really good to play on defense turn 5 if you don't want your barrel to get attacked if you play GP on defense 5, right? So that's where he comes in. He basically gets to be a turn 5 substitute in case you're on defense turn that game, and then GP can be played on attack 6 just fine. Then you can use Jack sleeping with the fishes on your barrel, or you can attack. You know, there's a bunch of variations you can do. And then is 2 Pharaon to round it out against mid-range or control decks if you need to get the extra damage in. Pharaon is super clutch in that regard. He's solo won me quite a few games. So yeah, that's the ideology behind the Pirate Burn deck. Finally, I'm going to talk about my Scout deck. Okay, so this is also my spicy version of Scouts. I don't run Bannerman because I don't like him. I think units get removed way too easily, to where Bannerman's not going to get too much value if you play him right on 4 most of the time, and he can brick if you draw multiple, and he can just be like a little bit rough because you don't want to play him on 4 and 5. You want to play other more powerful stuff like Ranger, Navigator, and Quinn, and then your 6-drops. So let's go over that. Standard 1-drops. I don't run Bannerman, so I can run Jagged Butcher instead of Cythria. This is my Cythria replacement. He's better in every way. He's a 2/2, just like she is. However, he is a little bit more relevant mid-game, so you can play him as a 3/3. Double Ranger's Resolve. Don't want to have 3 because it bricks. Protector, Hired Gun, super good early. Very high value 2-drops, good stats. 2 Sharp Sight, again, don't want 3 because it bricks. Good protection for MF. I got Petty Officer still, got triple Relentless Pursuit for clutch finishers. Of course, the triple Ranger, triple Navigator, no surprises, triple Quinn, and then triple Cythria and Genevieve to just perfectly curve this out. Look how nice this Scout's curve is. So basically, I have a more unit focused scouts. Like a lot of people run like Repose sometimes. I've seen back-to-back variations. I see Ranger's Resolve and Sharp Sight at 3. But I don't like running those at 3 because if I'm playing the deck perfectly and correctly, what I'm doing is playing a unit every single turn, and I don't have time to bank mana to actually play these cards efficiently, right? If I'm playing Tracker on 1, Protectoring it on 2 for a good trade, playing MF on 3, playing Ranger on 4, Quinn 5, Cithria 6, or Genevieve 6, when did I ever bank mana? Like, literally never, to actually use Sharpsight or Ranger's Resolve. Now, there are times where you get a pretty bad hand, or you float 2 here and there, and then you can have the mana for them, but it's not good to rely on them and also open multiple, because that just throws off your tempo entirely and makes it really hard to play a mid-range strategy if you just start using spells over and over and you're not developing the board. So yeah, that's my ideology behind that deck as well. And that's it for this one. I'm going to be practicing on stream on Friday the 4th in preparation for the tournament on the 6th. I will also be streaming the entire tournament, so feel free to check that out. It's going to be super fun, going to be super awesome. Please like and subscribe if you thought this video was informative or entertaining. It really helps me out since I'm still trying to grow. I'll be releasing more deck profiles, guides, and gameplay highlights in the near future. Thank you so much for watching and have a good one. Laters!